Hello and welcome to another Jay's Politics podcast. It's actually not politics today. We're going to be talking about sports, specifically the NFL playoffs this weekend. And I just happened to find it funny. I hope you enjoy the new intro music. You can reach us at podcast99.org or me directly at jpoliticspodcast@gmail.com. That may be changing soon though, so keep an eye out for that. As well as my contact information will be below, along with the link for the video that we'll be watching today. So, today we are going to be discussing Sports Illustrated Now, or SI Now, content about should the rules change after Patrick Mahomes didn't get a shot at the a shot in the overtime. Sorry about the stuttering there. Trying to do too many things at once, as per usual. So, anyways, what I'm trying to say is that we go through this every few years when a prolific quarterback doesn't get a chance to show off his skills against his opponents in overtime. It used to be Brady or Peyton Manning whenever they didn't get a chance to go because the other team just marches down and kicks a field goal. Okay, I can see that kind of being a cop-out or a cheap way to win the game. Sure. But we make it now to where the defense actually has to stop the other team and prevent them from scoring a touchdown. Well, if your defense can't play its game and stop the other team from scoring, do you think you really deserve a chance to win? I've heard arguments that we need to make it basically a fifth quarter, a full quarter to go. And maybe not a full 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. I don't know. I just think it's one of those issues that we're making a mountain out of a molehill here. So, let me pull up the video here. All right. So, I saw this on Twitter the other day. Yesterday, I believe it was. I wanted to do the video yesterday, but I've been feeling a bit under the weather. I'm sure you can tell by my voice. But I downloaded the video so I can actually make my video. I will be getting back to more politics here in a bit. I've got a couple things I want to talk about, and yes, one of them is the MAGA hats. The other is Ben Shapiro's incident at the same Friday event of March for Life. So let's move on.
So as we're talking about possible changes, do you think the NFL needs to overhaul its overtime rules?
Yeah, it's a shame we didn't get to see Mahomes at OT. I would have liked to seen what he did because we saw at the end of regulation what he did in that drive. But I actually don't think they need to change the overtime rule, Robin. I think people take for granted how hard it is to go the distance on a drive like that in overtime.
And he brings up a very good point. How hard is it for a team to drive, especially in the playoffs? You're playing the cream of the crop usually. The best teams are the ones that advance. Now, I know people are going to say with me saying that, what about the Rams and the New Orleans Saints game? I've seen the play. Yes, it was a bad no call by the officials. The guy was mugged. The player even came out, the Rams defensive player even came out and said, I got beat and I just tried to stop him. He fully knew he committed a penalty. The point is this is not the Rams' fault. It's the ref's fault for not calling it. Second of all, the Saints had that game easily handled by the end of the first half. They should have continued to apply the pressure. The Saints should not have put themselves in a place where one bad call or no call is the reason why they lost the game. Now, I've been there as a fan, and it takes me a few days to calm down on those types of things. But at the same time, we have to step back and look. These refs are human. They are not going to get every call right. And if we keep implementing instant replay to call on anything and everything, the games are going to go from 2.5, 3 hours to even 3.5 hours to do as much as 6 or 7 hours per game. Is that going to hold your attention span that long? I don't think so. So back to the point at hand. The rules. Do the rules need to be revamped? I agree with this guest or this other host. No, it doesn't.
Team plays to start overtime with a touchdown to win the game. The Patriots earned it. That should win the football game. It's hard to do. They did it against.
I can't believe I'm actually agreeing that the Patriots did what they were supposed to do. They scrolled, they marched down the field, scored a touchdown. I am not a Patriots fan. I give most of the Patriots fans in my area a hard time, especially at work when they come into my store. It's like, oh, you guys suck, da da da. But they also know that it's in jest. I'm not truly meaning anything negative. But let's continue.
It's the Falcons in the Super Bowl, and it plays a role in how teams attack overtime, because if they get aggressive like the Patriots do, they're going to go for that touchdown. They're not conservatively just trying to set up a field goal. As long as the games don't end on a field goal on the first possession, I'm okay. I don't want it turning into college football.
And I agree with him there. As long as it's not ending on a first field goal, I'm okay with the way the rules are set up now. But then I also agree I don't want it to turn out to be college football either.
Which is a clown show of back and forth. You never know who's going to win the game, how many possessions they get. There's 6 overtimes. I like the way it is, actually.
Yeah, when we're talking about the blown call, people say, well, there's all these other plays that happened, that still took place. To me, I didn't buy that because the game would have ended there. But I'm with you on that theory when it comes to overtime, right? Because, like the Chiefs could have gotten a stop.
Yes, it is. It is up to the Chiefs defense to stop them. And I know it's Tom Brady and, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, and things like that. And my bias will show here because I don't think he is. I mean, I don't know if he would have done all this under any other coach besides Belichick, but there's no way for me to prove it. So it is what it is. Anyways, going on for that. It is up to each individual teammate to play as a member of the team. And if you're getting beat or if you're getting outmatched, that's on you. If your team has to help you to help them, it can lead to big trouble for you.
At that point, sure, it was the advantage with the Patriots, but them's the breaks with the coin toss. Patrick Mahomes outplayed Tom Brady in this game, but Tom Brady, when it mattered, we know what he's able to do, and that's part of what's so impressive about him. You mentioned how difficult it is to go down the field on a drive like that, and we just have the utmost faith that it's a fait accompli.
I don't know if I agree with him on that. That it's Tom Brady doing what he does. His team. See, everybody wants to give the quarterback all the accolades in the world when they win and all the crap when they lose. Football, NFL football, is one of the ultimate team sporting events. You can't rely on just one player. I'm not saying that in a World Cup you can rely on just one player, but you get 2 or 3 superstars on your team. You can take over a whole game. And even then, they're playing Iron Man. They're playing both offense and defense. When it's hockey, you can have 1 or 2 great players that could carry your team. Same with basketball. But in NFL, you need a cohesive offensive line to form that pocket around the quarterback for when he passes, to open up those holes for when your running back needs to get through. Your running back needs to be able to chip block, pass block. Same with your tight end. They also need to be able to, once they chip block, run out for a route, for a dump off. They have to know their route assignments. They have to know what they're supposed to do. They have to be able to look back and see when the quarterback's in trouble and how to adjust their route accordingly. There's a lot that goes into this sport that people just don't realize. And we gloss it over way too easily because of how the media presents it. It's all about the quarterback, or it's not about anything. Even up here in Seattle when we had the Legion of Boom, it was still about Russell Wilson more than anything. Oh yeah, the Legion of Boom does this, but most of the articles are about how Russell Wilson did this, that, and the other thing, or how Marshawn Lynch helped Russell do this, that, and the other thing. I mean, it is what it is.
He's going to do it. And he did it making the right kind of calls, the right kind of audibles. And, it was the coin toss that probably cost the Chiefs. But that's okay. To me, that's part of the story of the game, coming away from it. They lost the coin.
Okay, losing the coin toss. Yeah, that's a variable that you can't factor for. in the sense that, it's a 50-50, 90. It's really a 50-50 chance, but it's a 90% chance that you're going to get it wrong. The few times that you do get it right, it may not even work out in your favor. Imagine if Tom Brady threw a pick six, or he threw an interception on the Chiefs side of the field, and they kicked a field goal just to win. They just went out and kicked a field goal. Will we be complaining then about how Tom Brady didn't get a true chance to do what he needed to do? I mean, seriously, how do you reconcile these great players and their ability to get the job done and not seeing one do their job in overtime fairly? You can't. The only way you can do this, the truly only way you can do this, and I don't think the NFL wants to do it, and I'm sure the players don't want to do it because it will add wear and tear and mileage to their bodies, is by doing a full fifth quarter. And honestly, I'm with the player. If a majority of the players came out and said, "Yes, we will do this," I'll support it. No problem. But if I think how most players think, especially those that play out there nearly every single snap of their side of the ball, I'm gonna think that they're gonna be like, "No, dude, I wouldn't be able to last that." Even if they condition better for it, it's adding wear and tear to their body. It makes their career shorter.
Toss, or maybe it would have been different, but it's okay that that's the case because they weren't robbed.
And you know what? They lost the coin toss, but they had 3 third downs where they could have stopped Brady.
Exactly, yeah.
And they didn't do it. They don't deserve to win if they can't do that.
And that's the end of their video, and I agree. These guys have said exactly what I believe, for the most part. However, there are still people out there that are talking about how the playoffs need to be changed. Now, going back to the Saints game really quick. The Saints game. The Saints should not have been in that position. Yes, the Rams are a great team. They're a great offense. They're a great defense. And they were able to pull their heads out of their collective butts long enough to get the game into overtime. The problem is that with the NFL, when teams get out to these large leads, they let up. Why did they let up? Especially in the playoffs. I mean, it happened to the most famous one is the Atlanta Falcons versus the Patriots in the Super Bowl. 28-3 halftime lead. What happens? The Patriots come back to win. I'm just saying. It's one of those things we have to, as a fandom of the NFL itself, not your team, but of the sport itself, we need to stop pandering to these pundits. And yes, I'm included in that want to change the overtime rule. There doesn't need to be a change to it. We know what the rules are. We know how the game is played. The difference between the regular season and the postseason is that it is just we're playing till somebody wins versus tie. If the Patriots went down and kicked a field goal, and then the Chiefs went down and kicked a field goal, and the Patriots kicked a field goal, that's how it goes. It's whoever wins. But it is what it is. I just thought I would play. I just thought I would, have my little thoughts put out there on this, and hopefully you guys appreciate it. Hopefully you guys will think about it, and whether you agree or disagree, put a comment down below. Honestly, I don't think the NFL overtime rules need to change at all. For my serious football head fans out there, if we're doing the draft this year, I would like to live stream it for us, and I would like to set up with whoever's coordinating it. We could have a giant meeting where we could have representatives from all 32 teams, and we could make it work. I'm just, we'll have to talk about it, but again, whoever's running the Serious Football Heads group, hit me up on Facebook. So have a wonderful week. Keep an eye out for my other videos that'll be coming later this week.